This Civic Media podcast is sponsored by UW Organ and Tissue Donation. Organ donations are desperately needed, and now is the right time to become an organ donor. Talk to your family. Get the dot. Save lives. Go to heroicdeed.com.
This is your WXCO Daily News Roundup for Bull Falls Radio, 98.9 FM and 1230 AM in Wausau.
For WXCO News, I'm Brittany Merlot. Longtime Republican State Senator Robert Cowles says he will cross party lines and vote for Democrat Kamala Harris in the November presidential election.
You know, I look back at all the people that I supported for president before I was there were a couple. I voted for Republican for president every time.
How about this time?
Well, we're not doing it this time.
He's represented Green Bay in the legislature for 42 years. While he's concerned about the blowback from fellow Republicans, he is concerned about what returning former President Donald Trump to the White House could mean.
And I believe this guy, Trump, is a totalitarian and very much a fascist. And he's, the old adage, past his prologue. He's indicated that in his words and deeds, especially in trying to overturn a free and fair election. Trump has to be defeated, and we have to protect the Constitution. The country will go on, even with some liberal things that Harris might do or may not do. So you have to have the foundation of the Constitution and protect democracy. If you don't have that, we will disappear.
Cowles says he thinks this decision is an important stand to make.
I really think it's the most important, one of the most important things I've done. Hopefully people will accept that and listen to me. Those that have trusted me and believed in me will think about that. And if they're undecided, we have to make a change here.
He made this announcement in an episode of the civic media show Rational Revolution, hosted by Mark Becker. The full interview will air on Saturday at 2 p.m., but the show can be heard now on podcast platforms, the civic media website, or social media apps. And former President Donald Trump will make another campaign stop in Green Bay next week. He will host a rally at the Resch Center on Wednesday, October 30th at 6 p.m. This appearance is just days before voters will cast their ballots on Election Day. Meanwhile, Tim Wall's wife, Gwen, is in Green Bay this morning and Marinette this afternoon. And voters in Croninwetter may have received the wrong ballot. Due to a clerical error, voters in Ward 11 who reside in the Mosinee School District might have been given a ballot for voters in the D.C. Everest School District, and vice versa. This mishap is especially significant because the Mosinee School District has a referendum on the ballot. Contact or visit the Village of Croninwetter Clerk's office as soon as possible to resolve the issue. And the My Vote website is again the subject of litigation. Stuart Waddles has the details.
WisPolitics reports a federal lawsuit has been filed by a Green Bay voter and the Oshkosh town clerk, seeking to bar the Wisconsin Elections Commission from using the My Vote website. They argue that the system lacks proper cybersecurity protections and that the commission wasn't authorized to create the online portal. The lawsuit comes over a month after local clerks started sending absentee ballots to voters.
And Pete Buttigieg, President Joe Biden's Secretary of Transportation, will be in the Fox Valley Saturday, making a personal visit to encourage early voting and drum up support for the Harris-Walz presidential ticket. Buttigieg will make stops in Green Bay, Appleton, Oshkosh, and Fond du Lac. Drought conditions are expanding at an alarming rate. There have been 82 wildfires across Wisconsin, with 32 of them starting because of improper equipment use. Things like unsecured trailer chains, lawnmowers, ATVs, UTVs, tractors, and more. Now, 77% of the state is in a drought and 30% has reached severe status. That's a 10% spike in just 7 days. Wildfires that occur under these conditions can burn for great lengths of time and smolder underground for days, which can be challenging to suppress. Amy Penn from the Wisconsin DNR says,
usually like 11 through 5 p.m., those are usually the more concerning times of the day.
Only operate equipment like chainsaws, off-road vehicles, and lawnmowers early in the morning or late in the day to avoid sparks at peak burn hours.
It's the safest time of day. That's usually when the winds calm down and the relative humidity increases again.
Burns are still suspended in several counties and elevated areas. Between boats headed to storage for the winter and hunters towing wreck vehicles, be sure to secure dragging parts to avoid creating sparks while driving. Avoid operating vehicles on dry grass, check tire pressure for exposed rims, and avoid all outdoor burning until conditions improve. Firefighters from over 30 municipalities have battled a 200-acre marsh fire in the town of Pickett since Sunday. It started with 10 acres of cattails burning in 20-mile-per-hour winds. The fire was extinguished and the scene cleared. But the next day, firefighters returned to the scene to find 700-degree heat on the surface. They worked Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday to contain and try to douse the peat fire, which can smolder under the surface for months. Officials believe the fire was caused by an ATV. And consistently dry weather across the state has led to Wisconsin farmers completing their harvests earlier than expected. It's also led to a drop in their quality. Farming officials say soil around the state is showing signs of being depleted, and more crop yields are being lost to weather-related issues. A Rice Lake man has been indicted on sex trafficking charges alongside the former CEO of Abercrombie & Fitch. The Barron County Sheriff's Office says 71-year-old James Jacobson was one of the 3 defendants named in the indictment. Jacobson facilitated the international trafficking and prostitution business from 2008 to 2015, during which time he allegedly recruited and interviewed men and told them it would benefit their careers. All 3 are facing a maximum of life in prison if convicted. And Drug Take-Back Day is tomorrow. Last year, the U.S. Drug Enforcement Administration collected nearly 600,000 pounds of unneeded medications from almost 5,000 locations nationwide. Here's Melissa Kay with more.
We know it's not always safe to just throw away or flush medications. Kylie Hunter is an Aspirus Pharmacy resident. She explains how to check.
The best way to find out what medications that you can flush down the toilet will be in the package insert, or they will be told to you by your pharmacist. However, if it doesn't say and it's unclear, you can always go on the CDC website and look at their Do Not Flush list.
Drug Take-Back Day provides an opportunity for you to safely dispose of unused or expired medications at designated drop-box locations.
The best way to get involved in Drug Take-Back Day is by going through your old medications in your storage cabinets and checking expiration dates or whether or not you take them.
Disposing of medications properly helps prevent accidental poisoning, reduces the risk of medication misuse, and protects the environment. This Saturday is the official Drug Take-Back event, but you can do it at any time of the year at permanent locations in hospitals and police departments.
For Drug Take-Back Day events in our area, head to dea.gov/takebackday. I'm Brittany Merlot for WXCO.
The Bucks and the Bulls tonight. Hi, I'm Mike Clemens with sports. The Bucks host the Chicago Bulls tonight in their home opener at Fiserv Forum. New to the Bucks lineup is forward Taurean Prince, who shot 6 for 6 and 16 points Wednesday against the 76ers. Doc Rivers.
You know, it's funny. He started out slow. When he came back in, because the first game, you just never know how guys are going to handle that. When he came back in, he was locked in. Just great.
College football, Wisconsin has won 3 in a row, but tomorrow night they face Penn State at Camp Randall Stadium. Game time at 6:30. At 6-0, the Nittany Lions are undefeated, ranked 3rd in the nation. NFL, the Packers will be at nearly full strength when they face the 2-5 Jaguars in Jacksonville Sunday. Rookie Evan Williams on what it took to secure a starting job at safety.
A lot of it's watching tape, just being self-critical every time you look, at your own film. Try not to just look at the highlights. You got to look at the bad plays too and face them and just try to improve.
That's Packers safety Evan Williams. With sports, I'm Mike Clemens.
On your entertainment beat, I'm Pete Schwaba. If Emily Bronte was still alive, she'd probably be thrilled that Margot Robbie and Jacob Elordi have been cast in Wuthering Heights. I guess we'll never know, but the good news is the project has found a home at Warner Brothers after a bidding war. Emerald Fennell will write and direct. Her previous credits include Promising Young Woman, which was excellent, and Saltburn, which was interesting. Robbie's company Lucky Chap will produce the film. One Desperate Housewife apparently had money to burn. The first John Wick film was released this week in 2014. The film franchise has grossed over $1 billion worldwide. Variety is reporting that none of it ever would have happened were it not for actress Eva Longoria, who saved the original John Wick by contributing $6 million in funding at the last minute that closed the financial gap and allowed filming to start. No one was happier than the film's star, Keanu Reeves, who also had his own money in the project. Fun films for sure, but could use a little more violence. If you're getting on in years and trying to get on the Golden Bachelorette just to meet girls, here is one girl you will not have a shot at. Martha Stewart told Andy Cohen on his Watch What Happens Live podcast that she would never appear on the Golden Bachelorette, not even for big bucks, because the guys aren't hot enough. Soap icon Susan Lucci also stated she was contacted by the show, but declined. Are man boobs and beer guts out? Did I miss a meeting? Ted Danson and Kelsey Grammer have finally buried the hatchet and ended their decades-long feud. On a recent episode of Danson and Woody Harrelson's Where Everybody Knows Your Name podcast, the two discussed their 30-year tiff. Danson said he recalled getting angry at Grammer on the set of Cheers, and it just sort of stuck. For 3 decades. Danson apologized to Grammer on the show, who said he had no hard feelings and all is now well. Thank goodness. In a related story, Ted Danson and Kelsey Grammer were in a decades-long feud. If you've been waiting around for a Brady Bunch revival, well, you probably need a hobby. But also, it will not be happening according to little Cindy Brady. Variety reports that actress Susan Olsen, who portrayed Cindy on the 1970s sitcom, says CBS canceled the project because of her political views, calling her too dangerous. Olsen told the Walkaway Campaign podcast that producers of the Brady revival disapproved of her views on vaccines and comments she made about the LGBTQ community. Olsen was also fired from a radio job after a message exchange with a guest who said Olsen sent homophobic slurs, according to Variety. The Brady Bunch revival show is set to pick up with the Brady kids in modern times as adults. No one is more bummed the show is a no-go than Christopher Knight, who played Peter Brady, and was excited to show the world that his character finally completed puberty, and his voice was no longer cracking.
We are looking forward to a sunny, pleasant fall-like weekend today. Mostly sunny, a little breezy today. We'll get to 57 for a high this afternoon. The wind northwest at 10 to 20. Tonight, clear, 32. Tomorrow, sunshine, 54. Then on Sunday, mostly sunny with a high near 60. I'm meteorologist Sean Cable. Outside now, it's 46.
That's your WXCO Daily News Roundup from Civic Media. Subscribe to this podcast on Spotify, Apple, or wherever you find your podcasts. Find more news at bullfallsradio.com. The national news cycle never stops, but it can be hard to find news about your local community. Civic Media is dedicated to providing quality local and state news coverage across Wisconsin. With the Civic Media app, you can get notifications about local stories that matter to you and your community. Find the free Civic Media app in your phone's app store and choose notifications from the menu to tell us what kind of news you want to hear about.